Hello friends, today I am going to talk about using tenses in academic writing. This is very important to know that which tense is suitable for which part of the research paper, like what to use in abstract, what to use in introduction, literature review, data analysis and interpretation, findings, conclusion, that what tense we is suitable in which part of the research paper. And friends, let me tell you that this will help you to get your research paper published in reputed index journal if you use right tense in the right part of the research paper. So here I'm going to start this video. So talking about abstract part, for abstract part, like when we talk about the present tense, then present tense outlines the research gap, purpose, objectives, and application of the study. Example of present tense in abstract is like this study aims to investigate the impact of climate change on agriculture. That's how we can use present tense in abstract. Then past tense summarizes the methods used and key findings of the study. Example, data was collected through surveys and analyzed using SPSS. That's how we can use past tense in abstract. The next one is past perfect tense. Past perfect tense highlights achievements. Example, the team had successfully developed a new algorithm for data processing. Again, I'm repeating. The team had successfully developed a new algorithm for data processing. So that's how you can use past perfect tense in abstract. So we can use these three tenses in abstract part: the present tense, past tense, and past perfect tense. Then the next part is introduction. Then in introduction part, we can use present tense, and present tense establishes fact, truth, and references from previous research. Example, many studies indicate that artificial intelligence has transformed healthcare. That's how we can use present tense. The next one is past tense. Past tense describes experiences and outcomes. Past tense describes experiences and outcomes. The example of this tense in introduction part is Michael, the name of the researcher, Michael 2025, in bracket we write 2025, found that this method improved efficiency by 30%. So that's how we can use past tense in the introduction part. Then the next part is active voice. Active voice helpful for clarity in presenting past research and your work. And how we can use active voice in introduction. The example is, we conducted a detailed analysis to identify key trends. So this statement is an example of active voice. Again, I'm repeating, we conducted a detailed analysis to identify key trends. That's how we can use active voice. The next one is passive voice. Passive voice, less common but acceptable in some context. And how we can use the passive voice, the example of this tense is, a thorough investigation was carried out to validate the hypothesis. That's how we can use passive voice in introduction part. The next part is methodology. Under methodology, we can use present passive tense. The present passive tense used to describe general methods or standard procedures. For example, the data is analyzed using statistical software. So what would be the example? Again, I'm repeating, data is analyzed using statistical software. So this is the example of present passive tense, which that's how we can use it under methodology. The next one is past passive tense. Past passive tense used to describe what you personally did in the study. Used to describe what you personally did in the study. The example of this tense is, the samples were calculated from 3 different locations. The samples were calculated from three different locations. So this is the example of past passive tense under methodology. The next one is results and discussions. Under result and discussions, we use present tense, and present tense describes figures, tables, diagrams, and their significance. And what would be the example? The example for this tense is table 1 shows table 1 shows the correlation between variables. That's how this is the example. Table 1 shows the correlation between variables. Is an example of present tense which we use under result and discussions. The next one is past tense. Past tense explains the results obtained. Past tense explain the result obtained, and what would be the example? The example of this tense is the results indicated a significant increasing in efficiency. The result indicated a significant increase in efficiency. That's how we can use past tense. The next one is mixed present and past tense. In result and discussion, we can use present and past tense together for summarizing and interpreting findings. And what would be the example for this? The example, the data showed a clear trends which suggest that further research is needed. Again, I'm repeating, data showed a clear trend which suggests that further research is needed. So this is the example of mixed present and past tense that we can use under result and discussion. The next one is conclusion. Under conclusion, when we conclude our study, we can use past tense. Past tense to summarizes main results and their significance. To summarizes main results and their significance. And what would be the example of this tense? The example, the study demonstrated the effectiveness of the proposed method. This would be the example of this tense. Again, I'm repeating, the study demonstrated the effectiveness of the proposed method. The next one is future tense. You can use future tense under conclusion, and this tense suggests directions for future research. The example would be future studies will focus on expanding the sample size. Future studies will focus on expanding the sample size. So friends, these are the examples of tenses which we can use in abstract, introduction, methodology, result and discussion, and conclusion part. Dear friends, if you frame your research paper and use right tense in the right part of research paper, then that will help you to publish your research work in reputed index journal. Sometimes journal rejects research paper in initial phase because the sentence formation is not appropriate. When the sentence formation is not appropriate, then what journal does? Journal rejects research paper during desk review. So guys, this is the video. Thank you so much for watching the video, and for more such videos, kindly subscribe my channel. Thank you.